What is up, homies? Welcome back to another trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We are reacting to the brand new trailer for the Sandman, the official trailer, which dropped in Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. I was in the panel actually for this show, and I will admit I don't know much about the Sandman. I've never read the comic book. I've actually not read a lot of Neil Gaiman's work at all, but I was actually really intrigued by this show just based on the panel alone. Like, the cast was very enthusiastic. Neil Gaiman and Alan Heinberg, who are the creative team who put this whole thing together, really passionate. And I have seen, well, I'm assuming it's the same trailer from Hall H. It could be a little bit different, but from what I saw, I really liked it. So I figured this would be a good one for us to react to.
It's a classic, and I mean like classic, sort of like industry defining comic run. This is what a lot of people would consider some of Neil Gaiman's best work, and this dude was doing this in his 20s.
Yeah, he was like 24 or something.
Yeah, which is like, sometimes you read some of it, and me as somebody who is now 10 years older than that, I go, okay, dude, you wrote this when you were in your 20s. Like, he's still a phenomenal writer, truly. Even when you're reading comics of this, especially knowing that it's from this era, especially knowing what kinds of things he was pushing to put into his stories, it's really like praiseworthy and really admirable and really cool. And it's not even my favorite comic series. It's something that I've seen so many other people love the Sandman, and I have attempted to get into it over the years multiple times, and I've gotten a few volumes in, 3 or something volumes in, and I'm kind of like, it's not for me, but I think it is really well done. But I'm not necessarily the audience. But I'll tell you what, to see it put in this show, I mean, this is something that like was trying to be a movie for years, was trying to be a show for years.
Levitt, yeah.
Gordon Levitt. Recently they did in the past few years like an audiobook that was fantastic, and James McAvoy was the main character, and he crushed it. And the audiobook was actually really great, but it was really like almost a one-to-one translation from the comic.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing, but you could almost read the comic while listening to the audiobook, and it was still that, 80s. And I don't know if this show is updating it to like the modern day. I haven't seen this trailer yet either. I'm really intrigued by it.
Yeah, I had difficulty getting into this comic too. I was trying to get into as many comic books as I could this one year when I was in between jobs, and that's the year I picked up Invincible. So before I started reading Invincible, I was like, well, let me get a little bit into Sandman and see what everybody's talking about. And it was a tough read for me. I couldn't really sink my teeth into it. But I'm excited that this is happening because it's the same as Lord of the Rings. It's bringing that tough, so what some people might find tough, like material to really dive into. Some people love it, and really kind of bring it to the masses and bring it to people who would normally never look in that direction, right? So I'm ready to watch this because I've been waiting to just dive into Sandman.
Let's do it.
Netflix.
It's from Netflix.
Whoa. That man is made of sand.
Your waking world is shaped.
Yeah, he sounds
by dreams.
Very appropriate. Ooh, I like this music.
Dreams and nightmares that I create and which I must control.
Yep.
He's out there looking for me, isn't he?
Can you imagine the damage he could do?
I need your help. If dreams disappear, then so will humanity.
I could do without dreams for a while. I haven't had a decent night's sleep in ages.
I'm not gonna stop until I reshape this world.
David Thewlis.
Tell us, what power of dreams you have?
Yeah.
I thought about giving up, but I have a job to do, and I do it.
Things have changed.
Your eyes will tell me everything. Every thought, every feeling.
My creations do not walk amongst the living, killing mortals for pleasure.
Oh, you don't think dreams can die? Let's find out.
Nightmares do not belong in the waking world.
Oh, it turns out I fit right in.
Dreams don't die.
Patton Oswalt.
Yep.
Oh, is it?
As the Raven, yeah.
Patton, who should be in every comic book adaptation ever.
He really should.
Oh, they did use the Sandman song. Classic trailer bullshit, right? Let's really slow it down. That looked edgy,
bro.
I thought that looked fantastic. As somebody who knows some of the Sandman, I could see some visual landscapes and some characters that I was like, God, man, that really looks just like the book. And good for them, because this comic book is so powerful in its voice and so powerful in some of its imagery that it cannot be ignored. You cannot take something and be like, well, we're going to leave some of that, but we're going to take some of this. The whole thing, it comes as a complete package when you read the Sandman comic from the 80s. It is not a typical DC comic book. It's kind of like, it's like Watchmen. When you read Watchmen, you go, either you're going to do this or you don't even bother, because it's so complete in its vision. I'm so happy for everybody involved in the show, because it does feel like, dang, dude, only in the year 2022 at a TV level could something like this look this good and feel this close to the source material and feel this interesting and bold. Yeah. So good for all of them. I'm really curious to check it out. I have a feeling that the same thing's going to happen. Is I'm going to watch this and go, man, this is a great show. Not for me, but it still looks great. You know what I mean? Like, it is the Sandman, but maybe there'll be moments, because there were moments while I read the comic where I went, man, I really love that issue. I think that's a fantastic issue. It's almost like an anthology style comic, almost, because it really jumps around to different genres and different things that in his 20s, Neil Gaiman was kind of trying to mess with. That some of it I was like, ooh, this is exactly my shit. And other of it, specifically this diner storyline that deals with David Thewlis, once I read that, I was kind of like that meme with the guy with the headphones where I was like, like, he takes the headphones off. He's like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, for me, the diner thing, which is a defining Sandman moment in the comic, I was like, ugh, that is a lot. Not for me, but good for you if you know. And some people are like, yeah, it's my shit. It's so fucked up. I love it. And I'm like, great, dude. Great, because it's very fucked up for fucked up's sake. But
I see.
It's still great storytelling. And there's some beautiful, beautiful moments in the series beyond that. So I thought, it was a really interesting trailer. What did you get? I mean, Adam, you've seen the trailer before. Augustine, what did you think?
It's still very far out conceptually. I don't know what I just watched, and I still have no idea what the story is about. So what I'm looking at now is a collection of images that I feel like I've seen in some dream like 1,000 years ago. That's what it kind of feels like at this point. And so I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. I don't know if it's like right up my alley, but it is what I'm noticing right now. And everything we've just saw is sawn. Did I just say sawn? Everything we've just seen so far has been all fantasy based, and I love it. I love that fantasy is kind of like taking the limelight right now, which I love this kind of stuff. I think it's really great. So let me see what these people got.
Yeah, the one thing that Neil Gaiman talked about in the panel was that, because he was asked about, adapting it for a more modern time, and he said that wherever they could, they did, but sometimes they would try to reinvent it or try to readapt it or try to change it to modernize it, and it would just kind of create more problems, and it just didn't work as smoothly as it did in the comic book. So sometimes they would just go 1-to-1 when they could, but he said, it's obviously, like we know with all the comic book adaptations, it's a balancing act. You have to sometimes leave some stuff on the cutting room floor, and some stuff you adapt 1-to-1, and some stuff you kind of reinterpret. And the thing I think that I found intriguing about this story was the fact that this character Dream, the Sandman, he goes across space and time, multiple dimensions to meet all these, and kind of like what Augustine was saying, it has this anthology feel to it, and that's kind of what they talked about, because it seems like they're almost using the issues of the comic books as sort of like a basis for an episode. So if if a story kind of wraps up in 1 to 2 issues, or however long it is, or a volume, then it kind of seems like they're trying to use that as like one episode or 1 to 2 episodes. So that part's kind of interesting to see this character, because the Sandman is the only character in the show, they said, who interacts with every character, the only one. So that is pretty cool to see, how does this character, who is sort of the thread through all these stories, really pull it all together, and how do all those things support him and tell a really complete arc that feels really fulfilling, depending on how much they're adapting the comic book. If it's satisfying to those people, then I think the show will ultimately end up being satisfying. But it does look cool. I do like the style. I am a fucked up person, so.
Okay. All right.
All right.
But guys, let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you thought about this trailer for The Sandman. Are you looking forward to it? Have you read the entire comic book run? Let us know some of your thoughts. Recommend some stuff that you think people should read that is from The Sandman, or just The Sandman, or things that are adjacent that remind you of The Sandman. Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys in the next reaction.
Bye.